Hey, what's up YouTube? Today I have a deck profile and regional report of my 5th place Pendulum Magician from the St. Louis Regional that happened on December 9th, 2017. So I'll just go ahead and get into the deck list first, and then we'll talk about the event itself. And on the left you can see the typed out deck list from my Reddit post. So my camera's not very good, so you can just read the list from there. But I'll talk about the cards. So first I played 3 Performer Pal, Skull, Crobat, Joker, and a lot of these ratios are pretty standard. I'll talk about a couple ratios that weren't so standard. I played 3 Wisdom Eye Magician, 3 Double Iris Magician, 3 Harmonizing Magician, 3 Black Fang Magician. I like the 3. Some people will play 2, but I can always side one out. So it was just good to see all my cards. So I just played basically a consistent list, nothing fancy about it. I played 3 Purple Poison Magician, 1 White Wing Magician for the double Omega or Omega plus like another synchro play. It's also a low scale, which this deck doesn't have as many low scales as high scales, and its scale effect's pretty good since it can negate something that targets a Dark Spellcaster. So it can negate stuff. If your opponent doesn't know what it does, it can catch him off guard. Then I played 2 Oath Dragon Magician. I like 2. Some people play 1, but I liked going first and ending my board with that, on the scale to just get back my Harmonizing Magician from an extra deck or Wisdom Eye or something like that. So it was good having 2 in case I would banish one off of Pot of Desires or something like that. So, and on the same lines, I played 2 Performer Pal Pendulum Sorcerer just to see it, because really you don't have anything that can pop your Double Iris Magician to search for your time and Star Pendulum Graph in the beginning, because I don't main deck Wavering Eyes either. So he was the guy to go to. So I was just able to see it and search it. So those are the main monsters. Hand traps, I played 1 Max C, 2 Ghost Ogre, and 2 Ash Blossom. I only own 2 Ash Blossom, so I only played 2. I know the standard ratio is like 3 Ash Blossom, 1 Max C, but I decided to play 2 Ghost Ogre, so I just cut something else. Or if it was I played 41 cards, so maybe I just added a Ghost Ogre. But these hand traps were good. I thought they were very good, considering I played 3 Mirror Matches and 3 Spiral. So that's really where the card shines, I think. For spells, I played 3 Pot of Desires for just to always see it turn 1. If I go first, I get that extra card. It's really important. And because I play, extra copies of like Sorcerer or what's his name? Oath Dragon. So I don't, if I banish one, I still have one in the deck. So the number of times where, some people like to play 2 of this, but which I was originally on the same thought, but the more times it helps you, it outweighs the times that, you might clog with it or something. So I think it's worth playing 3. And, if you really want, you can just side it out. But I always kept it in, because if I go second in siding cards, I can use Pot of Desires to draw into those cards. So I thought it was good. I played 3 Duelist Alliance and 1 Pendulum Call. That's pretty standard. I still like Pendulum Call. There was one game where I opened with it, and I said, hey, if this goes through, or if it doesn't go through, I lose. It went through, and I got enough advantage to make a strong enough board to take that game. So yeah, that was definitely good. And then the rest of the cards, I played 2 Cosmic Cyclone, and I just thought it was a well-rounded card. I didn't want to main Wavering Eyes, so I thought that this was the best card to just clear stuff. Rogue matchups, the mirror match, whatever. Going first, going second is just a decent card. And then I played 2 Star Pendulum Graph and 2 Time Pendulum Graph. I think it's pretty standard. So the main deck is 41 cards. Didn't really have an issue with it, so all day it was pretty good to me. So I'll move on to the extra deck. And I think this extra deck's pretty standard too. I'll say what cards I did and didn't use. So first I played 2 Cyframe Lord Omega. I think I went into the second one once or twice. I'm not sure if it mattered. I think I could have made something else, but the second one's definitely is fine. If you needed space to cut, you could cut one of those. Ignister, he was definitely the MVP all day. I think I made him almost every round, considering I played mirror matches and Spiral. He doesn't target he gets your scale effects going, and super good. In the mirror matches, they'd make theirs first and kind of kill my board, but I was able to have enough resources to pendulum summon, make my own Ignister, and then clear their board. So my Ignister was the last one on the field, and theirs was already gone, so I was able to win off that. One Supreme King Dragon Clearwing. Never made him, but I think he's pretty good for that, Raigeki effect. VXCs, I played one Time Star Magician, one Trapeze Magician. I don't think I made him. I did play one Trickstar, but I just didn't think to make him. One number 41 Baguska. He was good, made him a few times. Just good effect to kind of slow down the game, and then you can kind of go off when you're ready. If you have nothing else to make turn one, if you want to blind make an XCs, I'd make him. Sometimes I'd also make Tornado Dragon. I made that a couple of times. It was good. One Abyss Dweller for just BA or True Draco. I think I don't really know the deck, but I think they have graveyard effects, so that's good. I made it once against the Zombie Light Sworn, but it didn't matter. I couldn't make enough good stuff. And then also played the Utopia and Utopia the Lightning. One Supreme King Dragon Dark Rebellion. I think I made him once for game, so that was good, just to get in a lot of damage. One Supreme King Dragon Starving Venom. I think in theory he's good. He's easy to make. I never made him though. And then one Akashic Magician. Did make this once or twice. One time they had a Decode Talker, and I just summoned it right in front and bounced the Decode Talker. And speaking of which, that was my last card, Decode Talker. So pretty standard extra deck. A few cards. If you wanted to side deck Winter Cherries, you could take out probably the Fusion, maybe an Omega, and I don't know, Time Star Trapeze. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think I ever made them either. So anyway, that's the extra deck. I will go on to the side deck. So I played 2 Lava Golem, a Raigeki, so those are kind of my board clears. I also played 2 Spell Shattering Arrow, which I thought was good, going second against Spiral. If they kind of don't see, I know it's gotten some popularity recently, but if the Spiral player doesn't see it coming, on your turn you can bait the sleeper effect. He'll have Last Resort on it, and the field spell resort, and he'll target itself plus 2 of your cards. You just chain this from your hand. You kill their field spell, their Last Resort, and then their sleeper resolves. It'll kill your cards, but then it's going to kill, their Last Resort, and then sleeper will pop itself and then kill his board. So that was really cool. I think I got it off once, but I kind of messed up because I should have forced it sooner. I kind of tried to preserve my resources while I was trying to bait it, but he never fell for it, so that wasn't very smart of me. But I think it's still a good card. I didn't want to put in Twin Twisters here because the deck can't really afford to discard a card because the deck just likes having all the combo pieces in hand. And I also played 3 Wavering Eyes for the mirror match. I would all my mirror matches I played 3, and I won all my first games. I think I maybe won the die roll once or twice out of those, but Ignister was really what won me those games. And then game 2, I'd side Wavering Eyes to go second. I'd expect them to go first, and I like the card just going second because they can set up a board, and maybe if they don't want to play around it, they'll have full scales, and then you can kind of bait theirs while you set up your scales. You just hold this in hand, and they don't really know when you're about to drop it or if you have it. While they've got a set on the field, so that happened a couple times. And then some traps. I played 2 Evenly Matched, 2 Dimensional Barrier, and 3 Solemn Scolding. The Evenly Matched were good. I think I resolved it maybe once or twice, but it wasn't like a huge impact where I just won the game out from there. I still had to play a little bit, but it did get me ahead. The Dimensional Barrier, never sided in. When I'd go, even like the mirror match, I just didn't want to side it. I had, I think going second, I would just side the 3 Wavering Eyes and the 2 Evenly Matched, and that was pretty much all I needed to decide. And maybe Raigeki too, so 6 cards. So I couldn't find more than 6 cards to take out to side at a time, so this never went in. The 3 Scoldings, they always went in every time I went first, and they were huge. to negate evenly matched, and I think I did that 2 or 3 times that day, and it negates almost everything in the game. So that was probably my MVP in my side deck. And so yeah, that was the deck, and I'll go over my rounds. Nothing too crazy. So going into the event, I just got back into the game for a few weeks prior, and I didn't really know. And the last time I played was right at the start of Zoo format, and I didn't really invest heavily into that format. So while I knew Zoo was good, and I know there was like kind of True Draco Zoo, and I think Infernoid Zoo, all those things, but I didn't. That was the time where I was kind of getting out of the game and just kind of taking a break. So going into this event, I was kind of afraid that I was going to play a lot of stuff I didn't know, like some matchups I wasn't familiar with, is like World Chalice or True Draco, even Infernoid. I just haven't played a lot of Infernoid since I just been playing the game. So just things like that. Luckily, my rounds I did not encounter those things. I played one cubic player round one. I played 3 Pendulum Magician mirror matches, and then I played 3 Spiral, a Zombie Light Sworn, which was my buddy, and a Trickstar. So all those matchups I knew how to play, except for the cubic, which was irrelevant. But so I think I got kind of lucky there. I did the night before. That was pretty much all my play testing. I did one locals, once, and then the day before the event, I pretty much played all day. I tested 3 decks. I tested Pendulum Magician first with the Cyframe Gear Gamma against my buddy who was playing. He was playtesting Spiral, so he helped me learn that matchup, and I got my butt handed to me quite a few times, mainly because of the Gamma. So I ended up taking them out because I found that the deck always wants to normal summon Skull, Crobat, Joker, and when you have a monster on the field, Gamma is just dead. So the deck, I don't think it works. I don't think Gamma works with Pendulum Magicians, and that's just my opinion. But from the few games I tested, that's what I found out. So I took them out, and then later in the day I tested ABCs because that was the deck I was playing before I stopped. Before I took my break, and it did okay. I did put the Gammas in because I was playing like Brilliant Fusion and just a lot of stuff you can bait like Ash Blossom with to get your Gamma going. And I think I won a few more matches after that, and that was pretty decent. But I still didn't really like how the new version of the deck played. I kind of just like the simplicity of the old deck and just making like Tsukiyomi, Buster, and just setting good cards. But that's just me. And then the last deck I tested was Burning Abyss, and I actually played that night at my locals. I ended up winning, but it was a small local. Nothing really crazy there. But I didn't like how Burning Abyss just didn't have a lot of power. Like there was one round where I played heroes, and he just had like a big hero guy and like a trap card, and it was hard for me to get over. It was like, for that deck to do well, your opponent has to play into stuff. It's like you have to you play a bunch of hand traps. Your opponent has to do something, and you got to react with the hand trap. Then you can just consistently make Dante and just keep poking and getting advantage with Beatrice every turn. And I don't know. I just didn't think there was enough power in the deck. So that night, I just asked my buddy, he's like, hey, what should I play? He's like, Pendulum Magician's going to give you the best chance to top. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. So that's the deck I took. And so, going to my rounds, I'll just talk about them real quick. Round 1, I played Cubics, beat him. Round 2, I played the mirror match, cool guy. Game 1, we went back and forth, but I ended up winning. Game 2, I went second, and I got that's the match where I got the 2 Wavering Eyes, and I got him for 4, and he just couldn't do anything after that, so I won that round. So currently I'm 2-0. Round 3, I play against Trickstar. Game 1, so he's playing a going second version of Trickstar, so I think I go first, and I set up a board, and I get evenly matched for some, and then later on that a couple turns later, I think I search off Time Pendulum Graph, and then I think it's Star Pendulum Graph. Yeah, I search off Star Pendulum Graph, and then he does the Droll Reincarnation combo, and then I just lose. Game 2, I go first, and I just make Omega, and I think he didn't draw as well. and I won that one, just getting his life points down. Game 3, we went into time, and I did expect to go first because he was playing the going second build, so I kept my Solemn Scoldings in, and we're going into time. I've got Spell Shattering and Scolding in hand, and it's my turn. I decided to just set the Scolding to be safe, and he plays a field spell, and I was like, oh, that's unfortunate. That end phase last turn he plays Scapegoat, and I could have negated the board load he was going to go into had I just Spell Shattering the field spell. So I had to Scolding the field spell so he just didn't get the monster and just to get advantage, because I knew I was going to lose if I didn't negate something. And so he goes into board load, and I'm able to kind of stall for a few turns with Pendulum, guys in defense mode. And then my last turn, I think I draw Joker, summon it, get all my guys, make a huge Pendulum summon. I just kill his board, and I did exactly enough for damage. So I won that game, 2-1 with 400 life points left. So that was really close. That was my, like my second match against Trickstars. But that last game, he didn't draw monsters, so that was really helpful. So currently 3-0. Round 4, I play Spiral. Game 1, I go first, and I just make a good board in my eyes. I make Omega, I make a rank 4, I got Time and Star and full scales, and then his turn, he goes straight to the battle phase, and then plays evenly matched, and I get blown out. I just lose that match. Game 2, I think I don't draw strong, so that's my first loss. I'm 3-1. Round 5, I play against the mirror match again, and I think I go first. And I make an okay board, and then he goes Ignister, kills my stuff, and then here's where I make my Ignister, kill his stuff, and he couldn't recover. And then game 2 was kind of a weird one, where neither of us really wanted to make or could make a strong board. Like, we both had the desires like a bunch of times. He opens with the Supreme King engine, and I don't really know what it does. I know like one's a scale 0, but we both played Part of Desires, and he ended up decking out. So that was the weird part about that match. So I'm 4-1. Round 6, I play Spiral, and I make a strong board, just a standard board, and I kind of just get the win. Game 2, I draw too many side cards, and he's kind of bricking, but it was also weird that he calls Agent, he calls Monster 2 times in a row, which theoretically should get him there, but it was like a spell and then a trap. But I still kind of bricked my hand with like 2 lava golems, and he didn't really have anything on the field for me to kill, so I couldn't do anything there. So game 3, I go first, and I make my board, I set Scolding, and then his turn, he goes straight to the battle phase. I'm like, I'm ready for this. And I Scolding the evenly matched, and then we just kind of go back and forth, and I just make Tornado Dragon on a whim. I set my time, Pendulum Graph, some scales, so I know I can pop a few stuff, because he doesn't have a lot of resources. He plays the field spell, I pop it with Tornado Dragon, he just kind of scoops. So 5-1. Round 7, I play Pendulum Magician, and this guy was kind of interesting. That's all I have to say. He goes first and makes a very weak board. He's playing Astrograph in the main, and he has to Pendulum summon that. And I was like, I don't know if that's what you want to do. But anyway, I just play normally because he's got 1 set back row, but I'm like, really, my only line of play is to just kind of just play my hand. So I get Wavering Eyes for 4, which kind of sucks, but I still was able to make Ignister. I had enough scales left to Pendulum summon Harmonizing, make Ignister, and I just killed his whole board. And I popped my Double Iris in my scale to search time, because now I'm just like, well, now he's, this is the mirror match. He's maining Wavering Eyes, and so I got to just drop my scales. So then on his turn, I can, pop my other scale with Time Pendulum Graph, which I actually pop my other Double Iris on the field, and then I search Star Pendulum Graph, and then eventually I just get enough resources to kind of just come back in the game, and I take it from there. So that's game 1. Game 2, he doesn't open very strong at all. I make Ignister, and I just won with Ignister. So I'm currently 6-1 in my rounds. Round 8 is Zombie Lightsworn. So this is kind of, like I said, I think I just got lucky this regional, but I'm playing my buddy, and he's a really good player. His name's Eden Salins, and he's from my local shop, and he's just very good. I don't have a good track record. I think I maybe beat him once in a regional, but this round we get random deck checked, and he gets a game 1 loss just because of his sleeves. He was borrowing the deck from our other friend, who these are really bad like monster sleeves, and they were just really, I think some of the corners were nicked or something like that. But He gets a game 1 loss, so he goes and buys new sleeves, and we re-sleeve. I already know what he's playing, so it doesn't matter. So game 2 he goes first, and we don't side. So game 2 we don't side. He goes first, and I just didn't draw very strong, and I think he just had better cards that game. But on to game 3, I do go first, and this is where I open Pendulum Call, and it's kind of my only play. And the way I see it is I have to make like a decent board, otherwise I'm just gonna get blown out by like, the left arm and grass and Brilliant Fusion and stuff like that. So I activate Pendulum Call, I discard, and I say if this doesn't go through, I'll scoop, and he lets it through, and so I'm able to make I make an okay board, and I think I'm sitting on a Scolding kind of later in the game. I'm sitting on Solemn Scolding, and it's my turn. I summon Joker. Actually, before that, let me talk about this. So I think there was a time where, I made Baguska in defense mode, and he plays Brilliant. I'm like, okay. So he gets Seraphonite in his extra monster zone, and Wolf to the field because he pitched it with Brilliant Fusion. And then he summons Lone Fire, and then activates Lone Fire. And this is where I think I know the ruling, so it's like, it doesn't resolve the Lone Fire. So, because I've got Baguska in defense mode, obviously, to negate the stuff. So he calls a judge, and they say he tributes Lone Fire to activate effect, and then the judge says Lone Fire will tribute itself and resolve without effect. And I guess that's just how Baguska works. So I heard that was weird because I knew that it didn't work against ABC Dragon Buster trying to tag out. So I was like, okay. So he kind of messed up a little bit there, but so what I was saying before is I was sitting on a set Scolding. And kind of the pivotal point in the game is where I normal summon Skullcrobat Joker, to get a search, and he chains Ash, and here's where I'm like, well, I should Scolding, but maybe not. Maybe I should save it. But I ended up doing it anyway, and I think that's what won me, because I was able to get enough advantage to where I get an Ignister out, kind of break his board, and he's only sitting on a couple cards in hand, one set on the field. And he really doesn't let me win this game. He ends up summoning a Predaplant, attacking my Ignister while chaining Cosmic Cyclone to my scale with like 2,000 life points left. So I didn't win. He lost. I guess he beat himself. Yeah. So 7-1 going into round 9, and I'm like, wow, like this is it. So if I just win one more, I'm in. So I found out I'm playing against Spiral. I do go first. No, I'm sorry. He goes first. But I open Max C, so he goes 1 for 1 and discards a card. I chain Max C, and he gets quick fix searches, and then he just passes from there because he doesn't want me to get enough advantage. And on my turn, man, I make a huge board, and I've got I make Omega, Ignister, I got 2 monsters, I've got both Time and Star Pendulum Graph, Scales, and I feel like I could have killed him that turn, but just kind of, round 9, we're tired, and I don't really know what I'm doing. But I get his life points down to 650. He had no hand traps, so that's how I was able to make that board. So his turn, so he's low on resources. He's got like 4 cards, but he goes Gofu. I'm like, oh crap. He gets Gofu, gets the tokens, makes Decode, and he summons like Drone and stacks, and I pop it. So here's where I kind of mess up. I pop that with Time Pendulum Graph because I know Star Pendulum Graphs, it's gonna get me a card. It'll get me a search, plus then the deck will be shuffled. And so now it's kind of like he's banking on, luck to make a comeback. And so really I should have just waited for the double Helix or something like that, right? But he plays normal double summon next, so I'm like, oh crap, plays double summon. And then he goes Super Agent, gets Drone back with Big Red, and then he stacks my deck, and then makes double Helix, and then he does the combo. So he ends with, because he had the Gofu, he was able to make Decode, Decode Talker, and then he had Sleeper, with Last Resort equipped to it, with the Resort Field spell, and a set, Spiral Mission Rescue. So I'm like, well, shit, he did that with 4 cards. And so now I'm thinking I've just got to do 650 life points. So here's my hand. My hand's Joker, Harmonizing, Double Iris, and I got Black Fang in a scale. So I normal summon the Joker, search Harmonizing, and I'm thinking, I just got to do 650, but this board's looking real scary. So I Black Fang, I half his Decode Talker, and he lets it through. I think if he negated that was game. Like, I would have lost game 1. So Decode's now at 1400 attack. I scale my Double Iris, and then I use the effect on Joker to double the battle damage. And then I scale both Harmonizing, and I've got 5 different magician names on my extra deck. So that's plus 500 for each on Joker. So that's plus 1,000. So that's 2,800 attack on Joker. I go to my battle phase, but he has another mission engraved, so he banishes it to summon his agent that was in the grave to a linked zone with Decode Talker. So that spiral agent pops one of my harmonizings. So now I'm at plus 500 attack on Joker, so that's 2,300 attack, but double battle damage. But now Decode's at 1,900 attack because it was halved to be 14, and then he gains another 500 now because agents. He's playing the agent. But doing the math, that's 800 because that's 2,300 minus 19 is 4. Double that because of Black Fang is 800. So I did just barely enough for game, and I just thought that was ridiculous how he could make that comeback. And I was like, wow. I had to breathe. I had a long sigh of relief after that game. And then game 2, he goes first, and he does not open strong at all. I'm not sure what he had. You know what? Scratch that. I do know what he had because he kind of dropped his cards, and he had 2 double summon. I saw that, so I was like, well, I know he doesn't have hand traps, so I just start going, and I just make a normal board, and I just kind of start poking him. His turn, he has a agent on the field, and then he just normal summons Ash, goes into Ancient Fairy, but there's no field spell, and he's just like, yeah, I scoop. So final thoughts. I went record 8-1, and I think I just, I think between the just my deck, how consistent it was, and how my opponents weren't drawing as well, either, unlucky or, their deck's just not as consistent as the Pendulum Magician. I think that's kind of what led to my success that night. Also, while I did go X1, 8-1, there were 4 other people who also went X1, so I had the worst tiebreakers, so I ended up getting 5th, but I think that's okay. I didn't get the deck box, but no big deal. Also, my friend, he was sitting next to me at the last round. He got 7th, playing the same deck, but he played 0 Ash Blossom, 0 Evenly Matched, and he main decked Full Force Virus, which I thought was really cool because that was a card I did consider siding. I just couldn't get it to work in my testing, but definitely props to him. He was 7-2, but there was only one 7-1-1, so he was able to kind of sneak in the top 8. And then actually my opponent, who ended up going 7-2, got 8th place. Actually, I'm getting that mixed around. So my buddy got 8th place, and then the guy I played last round who I beat got 7th place. So we're all kind of, it's all kind of worked out in the end for everybody. Except for my Zombie Lightsworn buddy, my round 8. He got 9th, which was kind of unfortunate. So like I said, with a little bit of luck and a little bit of knowing the matchups, getting a little lucky, I think deck's definitely very good. And but yeah, so I hope you found that helpful. I know there's like a million other Pendulum Magician lists out there. I just thought I'd give my 2 cents on it, just with my experience. But yeah, so hope that was helpful, and thanks for watching.